Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome back to those of you who are new. Welcome to those of you who are seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, mental health, and emotional health paradigm. We try to do that as often as we can, multiple times per week, sometimes better than others. We've got over 960 of these available now. Going to cross into the 1,000, I hope, within the next week or so, and continue our foray, making the world a better place. Anyway, so good habits that seem like, or habits that seem good that may not be, are some things we want to talk about today. If you're looking for life, relationship, business coaching, would love to be of assistance to you. I've worked with over 16,000 people, close to 17,000 now, in a number of countries over the last 15 years. It'll be 15 years next month, so might as well start calling it 15 years. In any event, would love to be of assistance to you. Please keep your mind open to that. A couple ways you can reach out: through the About Me section of this channel, or in the About Me section of this YouTube page, and or at PO Perception on Twitter. In any event, so people that think that it's good to be always positive, that is not the case. Number one, you get into the realm of fake positivity. Plus, one cannot always be positive in all situations. In other words, if you don't know what it feels like to be negative, then you really can't appreciate positivity. It doesn't mean you can't be positive. You certainly can. However, in the end, if you're faking your positivity, it isn't really positivity anyway. Plus, the idea that you would eventually overly say yes or overly promise yourself out is another problem with always being positive. The concept that sometimes we need to be neutral, sometimes we do need to be negative in order to protect ourselves, or at least look at things from a more even-keeled mindset, is one of the most important things we can do for ourselves and for the development of a compelling future. It doesn't necessarily mean that we should beat people up or beat people over the head with negativity, but at the end of the day and in the end of the way, it's definitely useful and beneficial to get to a place where you begin to understand the value of making decisions in a long and short of it from a simple standard of what you can actually handle versus saying yes to always wanting to be liked. The next thing to consider is the illusion of perfection. That is the idea that there is such a thing as being a perfect person, being in a perfect situation. Perfection doesn't exist. Now, you can have your version of perfection, I can have mine. Whose is correct, who is right, who is wrong, and does perfection even exist at all? These are things worth taking a look at, worth taking a peek at, but in the end, if a person believes in the concept of perfection, they are setting themselves up, at least partially, for a eventual fall. This is because perfection does not exist at the level that people thinks that it does, and it can become problematic for a number of reasons, including your version of perfection and someone else's version of perfection could in fact be different. Therefore, if you're living by one person's but expecting someone to live by yours, and you're not getting your needs met in that way, there can be a great deal and a number of challenges as it relates to beginning to ultimately, get out of balance within yourself. The next thing to consider, at least in part, is people think it is a good habit, but it doesn't end up being to kind of avoid conflict. Now, certainly going after someone when you don't have to, or going after someone needlessly, or being super aggressive is detrimental. Obviously, that is a worthwhile thing to consider, the detriment of getting into conflict just for the sake of conflict, and or the idea that conflict makes you powerful or winning in a conflict makes you powerful. But at the same time, finding a way to begin to understand that you are getting into a situation that you can't get out of, and or believing that the world owes you something because you've had it difficult or whatever the case may be, can actually be detrimental in a number of ways that lead you in directions that don't really get you anywhere good, healthy, or intelligent. So it's an interesting dichotomy where we begin to look at the value of what we're doing and how we do it from the standpoint of, can we avoid conflict or not? Again, avoiding conflict unnecessarily is a good idea, but avoiding all conflict does not lead you in a positive direction full time or consistently. So hopefully this has been helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.